Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church, and I'm here today to continue this conversation about a fellow named Abram who later becomes Abraham. Now, yesterday I started this out where Abram just gave up everything and took off and followed God till he told him to stop. Really obedient guy, really trustworthy. Here's a guy you can hang your hat on as a real example of what it means to walk with God. Well, today I want to read a couple of passages that might not quite keep that image. So let's look at Genesis chapter 12 and beginning with verse 11. As he was approaching the border of Egypt, Abram said to his wife Sarai, "Look, you're a very beautiful woman. When the Egyptians see you, they will say, 'This is his wife. Let's kill him, and then we can have her.' So please tell them you are my sister. Then they will spare my life and treat me well because of their interest in you." Now, I don't know about you, but this image here of Abram is not quite like the image that we shared in the beginning. Here, Abram is afraid. That's amazing. With all that God had done up to this point, don't you think that leading him around, he would take care of him? But he's got a beautiful wife. And Abram is sure that the Egyptians are going to kill him. So he comes up with this scheme. And he says, "Tell him you're my sister." Well, the story goes on. And in fact, that's what she does. And in fact, Pharaoh wants to take her rather, as his wife. Says he gave Abram lots of sheep and cattle and goats and donkeys and servants and camels for a price. But let's see what happens. Verse 17. But the Lord sent terrible plagues upon Pharaoh and his household because of Sarai, Abram's wife. So Pharaoh summoned Abram and accused him sharply. "What have you done to me?" he demanded. "Why didn't you tell me she was your wife? Why did you say she's my sister and allow me to take her as a wife? Now then, here's your wife. Take her and get out of here." Pharaoh ordered some of his men to escort them, and he sent Abram out of the country along with his wife and all his possessions. Things were working out pretty good for Abram. He didn't trust God, but life was getting good. I mean, he got a whole bundle of things and animals and people and stuff by passing off his wife as his sister. But God wasn't going to let him do that. And so plagues come upon Egypt. I was just wondering when plagues come upon Pharaoh down the road, it would have been nice if they'd have remembered their history. But that's another subject. So Pharaoh finds out, figures this out, gets so mad at Abram. He said, "Why did you do this? You let me do this, and now look what's happened. Get out of here." Interestingly, take all your possessions, all those things he'd given him, and get out of here. Now, you would think after this experience that Abram would have learned his lesson, but you'd be wrong. If you skip over to chapter 20, and I won't read it, he does the same thing again. What is going on with this man who is so obedient that he picks everything up and takes off to who knows where, but then gets afraid that someone's going to kill him because his wife is beautiful. Well, I think what comes over Abraham is what comes over you and me. It's called being human. It's one thing to do this great thing of God, which is very almost impersonal. And then when you get smacked right dab in the face with something that's really immediate, it's easy not to trust God. And we think we're getting away with it. Abram thought he was getting away with it. Even after he gets scrunched by Pharaoh in this chapter, 7 chapters, 8 chapters later, he's doing it again. Well, Abram was a great man, but he was also like you and me. And God knew that when he called him. You see, I don't want to say that Abram disappointed God because God knew what he was like when he started out. But Abram slowly but surely began to know more and more about God. And that's how it works for you and for me. We don't wake up in the morning and know everything. I mean, the moment we become a Christian, whenever that was in your past, you didn't suddenly just get filled with all kinds of knowledge and stuff and wow, you're a Bible scholar. It takes time. It takes time to experience walking with God. And when we think that somehow everything's going to be perfect now, that's when we get really disappointed. And sometimes we think we made a mistake. Well, Abram teaches us that that's not true. That walking with God is a process. And it doesn't really matter where you are in this journey. It doesn't matter whether you're just getting started, whether you've been at it for ages, or you're somewhere in the middle. What's important is you keep walking. You keep moving forward. You keep allowing God to teach you new and better things. What's important is not who you are today, but how much better you are from yesterday, with the goal of being even better tomorrow. This journey Abram's on is a life's journey, just as yours and mine is. Walking with God is a life's journey. Why don't you get started if you haven't already? And if you have, great. Keep it up. See what's in store for you yet tomorrow. Well, thanks for listening. If you have a need or a concern, call us. Let us know. We'll do whatever we can, as fast as we can, to help meet your need. So take care of yourself. I'll be back tomorrow with a couple more thoughts about this fella. And I hope your day is fantastic and terrific and full of wonder at the workings of God. I'll talk to you tomorrow.